So for today's class, we have Ashley, Jennifer, Tien, Alyssa, Jenny, Steven, and Mary. All right, great. So, uh, it's nice to see all of you today. Unfortunately, last week I wasn't able to attend our class because it's holiday in our country, and it's actually the time when we visited those relatives who passed away. So it's really important for us. Anyway, you have a homework, and that's the first thing that we'll be doing today. I mentioned this during our last class, and I told you that you will be describing something the next time we meet. So let me just share my screen real quick. Do you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Yes? All right, perfect. So you need to answer the question. So we are starting off this lesson with a conversation practice. Okay. So you need to answer the question, what did you do last weekend? Okay. So basically, on this question, you need to tell us about the interesting things that you did last week. Okay. So today is November 8th. So tell us what happened last November, what, like 4 or 5, maybe last weekend. All right. So who among you have prepared for this homework? Do you have your answer for this homework? Ashley have it. What about the others? You don't? Okay. Here's what we're going to do. I am going to give you 5 minutes. Okay. 5 minutes to finalize your answer with this question. Okay. Again, you need to tell us what happened or what did you do last weekend. Okay. You can tell us your routine if there's nothing much interesting that happened, or just tell us a story about the interesting things that happened to you last week. Okay. Why are you laughing, Jenny? Is there what's funny? Okay. What is funny, Jenny and Lissa? Is there something wrong? Oh, I heard Lissa on Jenny's end. What is happening? What are you two doing? I know you're in the same house. Okay, but please listen carefully. All right. So I'm gonna put our timer. So 5 minutes to prepare for this conversation practice, and I'm gonna call each one of you. All right. And your 5 minutes starts now. All right, time's over. All right, turn on your camera. So again, answer the question, what did you do last weekend? So let's start off with Ashley.
Well, I didn't do anything too interesting last weekend. Last Saturday morning, I did exercise and cycled with my friends. And then that afternoon, I I messaged friends and did origami. And then in the evening, I played puzzle and surfed the net. On last 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 Sunday, I the I did the same things at last Saturday. The only difference was that on Sunday nights I watched TV.
All right. Okay, thank you so much, Ashley. Good job. Just be careful with your pronunciation of words with letter S. For example, the word exercise, right? So instead of saying exercise, it's exercise. Okay. So good thing you elaborate what you did on Saturday, and you mentioned that it's the same thing that happened on Sunday, except um you watching the TV on Sunday, right? So good job, Ashley. Now let's have Jennifer.
I didn't do something interesting last weekend. I spent all weekend to study for my exam at school. There were a lot of things I had to review. It made me tired. I've just finished the test this morning.
Wow. How was the exam? How was the test? Did you do well in the test?
I think I did it well.
All right. So all of the hard work that you did last weekend, I think that paid off. Okay. So very similar to Ashley, pronunciation of the word letter S. So for example, the word last, instead of saying last, you say lat weekend when it's supposed to be last weekend. All right. I think that's a very common uh thing or common mistake that each Vietnamese students are actually committing. And that's something that all of you should improve. Okay. Pronunciation of the word letter S. Okay. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Let's have Lissa. The two girls are really naughty because they are together.
Um, Last weekend, my aunt came back from Korea. So in the weekend, I do something very interesting. When she came back, she bought me candy. In the morning, I took her children to the park and bought toys. In the afternoon, we ate in a restaurant. And after 1 week, she returned to Korea. I really miss her.
Okay. I think that's the same thing that you answered last time,
Yes.
Lissa, right? So that's your answer last time. While we are asking what you did last weekend, which is just like very recent, November 5 and 6, or November 4 and 5, right? I'll get back to you, Alyssa. Please write your answer again. You are going to tell us what you did last weekend, and please do not use the same answer you did last weekend. That's your answer 2 weeks ago. Okay. I gave you time earlier. Now I'm gonna call you later on. Let's have Steven.
Yes. Last Sunday morning, I wake up at 6 o'clock, brush my teeth, and take a shower. Then I had breakfast and went to my friend's house to take him to the swimming pool. Then I had lunch. In the afternoon, my family and I go to park. So in the evening, we went home to chat and enjoy a wonderful weekend.
All right. Thank you so much, Steven. Good job. So you elaborate what you did from the morning until the afternoon until the evening. Now, something that could be improved, Steven, would be the consistency of the tenses of the verb. right? Since we're talking about something that you did last weekend, all of the tenses of the verb should be in the past form, right? So for example, you said, in the afternoon, I and my family go to the restaurant, right? The word go should be went. Okay, on the other sentences, you use went, but in that particular sentence, you use go. So be very consistent with the tenses of the verb. Okay, Stephen? All right, good job. Thank you so much. Now let's have our new classmate, Tien. What did you do last weekend?
On Sunday, in the morning, I did my homework. In the afternoon, I planted trees with my mother. Uh, Finally, in the evening, I played the game with my brother.
That's it? Okay. Thank you so much, Tien. That's short but simple. On her first sentence, she told us what she did in the morning, second sentence in the afternoon, and third sentence in the evening. So that's a good start, Tien. Okay. You were able to create an answer based on what you did last week. Okay. So next time, I want you to put more details with your answer and be very specific to what you did or to all of the details that should be given with your answer. Okay, Tien, but you did a great job. Next, let's have Mary.
Uh, Last week I went out with friends at the supermarket and I studied for upcoming test.
What is it?
Last week I went out with friends at the supermarket study for upcoming test.
So okay, you and your friends went to the supermarket to study for the test?
No, I in the morning I went I went out with my friends at the supermarket, and at the evening I'm studying for upcoming test.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Mary. So that's something that you should be very careful about, right? So you um include two different ideas in one sentence, and that actually makes a confusion to your listener. So since you're talking about something that you do, you should put um timestamps, right? So you said you changed that on your second answer, like in the morning, I went to the supermarket with my friends, and in the afternoon, I studied for the upcoming test. Okay, so if you do something like that, you're actually separating two ideas, and your listeners will be able to understand you clearly. All right, do not just join and combine these ideas all together. All right, Mary? Is that clear? Okay, I'm looking forward to a better answer next time. Now it's your turn, Jenny.
Chào chào. Last week, I got a chance to go on a small trip to my hometown to visit my grandparents with my parents. We started the trip at 7 a.m. in the morning. It took us 1 hour to get there by car. Along the way, I was so excited to to see the peaceful views of the countryside. There was large rice paddy filled with many water buffaloes. After I arriving at my grandparents' house, we spent a day with them. We had an amazing meal with fishes and chickens. On the other day, I went to the field with my mother and my grandma. While my dad went fishing with my grandpa, we left for Fulton on Monday. I really miss them and wish I could come back soon.
All right, thank you so much, Jenny. So I'm not, is that also your answer last week? That's your answer last week as well?
I got a chance to go on a small
No,
trip.
no. Okay. I'm not asking you to read it. I'm asking if that's your answer last week when I asked the same question. Yes or no?
No.
Nói đi bọn.
No? Okay. All right. So if not, because I remember you mentioned also having a trip last week, and you were also with your grandparents. But yeah, I'd like to commend you for putting details with your answer. Good job. But the thing that you need to focus on is your pronunciation of words, right? I think you have constructed good sentences, but it's hard for me to understand what you mean because you do not pronounce the words properly. Okay. And I actually cannot identify the word that you mispronounced because I cannot understand it. Right. Next time, try typing that in your computer. Listen to the translations or listen how each word and then so that time or you pronounce the words. Is that clear? Is that clear? Jenny, is that clear?
Yes. Okay.
All right. And this is for everybody as well, right? If you cannot or if you are not sure about the pronunciation of the word, then look for it in the internet. All right. So you can search in Google, you can search in YouTube, and you will see the right pronunciation and just practice and imitate what's happening there. All right. So good job, everybody. Now, Lisa, I'll get back to you later, but again, you need to write what happened to you last weekend. Okay. Now, we will proceed with the next page of our lesson. And we are going to talk about taxi services. So who among you uses or who among you have seen taxi in your place? Do you have a taxi in your place?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So in America, most taxis are color yellow, but there's what we call now Uber, and it could be in a form of, I mean, there's no specific color. It could be any type of car, and you're just going to book that car using an online application. But we still have taxis like this in our country. Um, Taxis are mostly colored white. But in your country, what's the color of the taxi in your city? Anyone?
They are white and green.
White and green. Like altogether, white and green?
No,
Or they are white and they are greens?
they are white and they are green.
Ooh, what's the difference of the color? Is there a difference between the white and the green? No. Yeah, I think I've seen also a green taxi somewhere in Manila. But anyway, so that's what we're going to talk about today. And let's try to answer each of these questions. Okay? So let's have the first one. Steven, can you read?
Yes. What comes to mean when you hear the word taxi?
All right, so let's repeat the word mind. Instead of saying mind, you're going to say mind. What comes to mind when you hear the word taxi? So what about you, Steven? What comes to your mind when you hear the word taxi?
Uh, I think of the drivers.
You think of the driver? So you're thinking of the driver. Of course, there's a driver. Okay. But who among you have experience using a taxi? Do you use taxi? Anyone? Do you use taxi? Yes or no?
Yes, but I hate using it.
Why? Okay, tell us about your experience, Ashley. Why don't you want to use taxi?
I guess motion sickness.
Oh, you have motion sickness. Me too. Yeah, me too. I have motion sickness. So for everyone who do not understand what motion sickness is, so that is when you feel like you're going to throw up or you're going to vomit or you don't feel well when you are inside a car. It could be in any type of car, but for Ashley, it's in taxis. Okay, now let's have question number 2. How often do you take taxi? Let's have Lissa. Lissa, how often do you take a taxi?
Um, no, because it's very expensive.
It's very what?
I don't use it
Expensive.
very often because it's very expensive.
Okay. So the question is how often, right? So when we say often, there are several things that you could use to answer this one. Wait, I'm gonna show you. Where is my text tool? All right, let's have here. So let's think of it this way, right? So when someone asks you, how often do you do something? There are specific words that you could use to tell us how often do you do something. Okay, so let's think of it this way. 100%, you're going to use always. Okay, 80% of the time you're going to use usually. 50% you're going to use sometimes. And if it's 0%, that's going to be like rarely or never. Okay, so you see this? Now, for Lissa, you said that you do not use a taxi, right? Because it's very expensive. Is that correct, Lissa?
Yes.
Okay, so which word shall you use or shall you use for your sentence? Always, usually, sometimes, rarely, or never.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. So you still use taxi, but not very
Yes.
often. Okay, so you can say the sentence in this way. I sometimes use taxi. Can you say it,
I
Lissa?
sometimes use taxi. I sometimes use taxi.
Okay, so the pronunciation of this word is taxi. Taxi, not taxi. It's taxi. All right. Okay, now let's have um Mary. Mary, how often do you take a taxi?
I rarely use taxi.
I rarely use taxi. Why?
Because I think it's very expensive and I, I no, that's all.
Okay, you think it's very expensive. All right. Now, thank you so much. Listen, Jenny, let's have the next question. Do you have any taxi stories? Anyone who could share? Do you have any taxi stories? What about you, Jenny? Do you have any taxi stories?
I don't have any taxi stories because I don't I don't take taxi often.
You don't
Yes.
take taxis. Okay. Okay, great. What about you, Tian? Tian, do you have any taxi story?
No, I don't know.
No, as well? Uh-huh. What about Jennifer?
Uh, no, because I don't take taxi very much.
Okay. You don't take taxi very much. All right. Good job. That's okay. For me, do I have a taxi story? Yeah, I did. I fight with the driver. I had a fight with the driver because it's so expensive. And they were like, there's like a meter, right? And you'll see there how much are you gonna pay. And then I saw how much are we gonna pay, and then the driver said, "No, that's not how much we're gonna pay. You're gonna pay this one." And I was like, no. It says there that I'm only gonna pay, let's say, $50, but why are you asking me to pay $100?" So I actually had a fight with the driver, but I did not like. There's no physical fight. It was just like confrontation, like, "Why are you letting me pay this much?" And then I reported this taxi driver with his manager, and they fired him because that's not a good thing to do, right? Anyway, so that's my taxi story. Let's have number 4. TN, can you read number 4?
Are there no taxi cab in your town?
Okay, are there enough taxi cabs in your town? Ashley, what do you think? Are there enough taxi cabs in your town?
I think yes. I don't pay much I don't pay much attention on taxes.
So what's your mode of transportation?
I use motorbike.
Ooh, do you drive the motorbike?
No. My parents from my parents drive and I use it like.
Okay. All right, that's really great. Thank you so much. Now let's have number 5. Mary, can you read number 5?
What do you think of taxes in another country?
So what do you think of taxis in other countries? So I believe in other countries there are taxis that you don't that does not require a driver. So there's no driver. It's automatic. So it's like an artificial intelligence. So what do you think of that?
I think taxes in another country is quite good and it doesn't very expensive.
It could be, right? It could not be that very expensive because most people are using taxi, right? And when a lot of people are using something, the value is actually getting lower. Okay. Thank you so much, Mary. Let's have number 6. Jenny, can you read number 6?
Do you think it's always safe to use a taxi?
Do you think it's always safe to use a taxi, Jenny? What do you think, Jenny? Do you think it's always safe to use a taxi?
I think using a taxi is always safe because the taxi drivers have a travel license. And uh before they pick up passenger and they check their price first. Which is yeah. A
Oh, you
taxi
you, you mean Okay, I think I get what you mean. Like you mean to say that these drivers are talking to the passengers, telling them how much are they going to pay before going into their destination. Yeah. Um, the answer to this one is very vague. Is it always safe? Of course. Not everything could not be always safe, right? There might be some bad things that could happen, right? Let's have number 7, Jennifer. Can you read number 7?
What would happen in your town if all the taxis disappeared?
What do you think? If all the taxis disappeared in your city or in your town, what would happen, Jennifer?
There won't be any public transport to serve passengers.
All right. What about you, Steven? What do you think? Number 7. What would happen in your town if all taxis disappeared?
Um,
When we say disappear, it's gone. There will be no taxis in the road.
I think it will be very bad.
Why? Why do you think it'll be very bad? Because could be very bad because, of course, there are still people who likes to use taxi. And if this is going to be gone or it's going to disappear, then probably it's going to affect those people whose mode of transportation is taxi. All right. Now, let's proceed to the next page that we have. So in this one, we are going to have our reading practice. Oops, let me just make it smaller. So this is a reading practice. And at this part, we're going to read something about taxis. So let's try reading this one per each paragraph. So there are 1, 2, 3, and 4 paragraphs, and there are how many of you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are 7 of you. So the first group would be Ashley. You will read the first paragraph. Jennifer, you will read the second paragraph. Stephen, you will read the third paragraph. And Tien, you will read the fourth paragraph. Okay, so let's put the numbers so that you'll be aware. So this is 1, 2, 3, wait, and 4. Oops. All right. So let's start with the speaking practice. Let's start with Ashley.
Many customers agree that they download taxi hailing apps but do not use them as frequent as ride-hailing apps, such as Grab, Bee, and Gojek.
Okay, so let's just repeat the words that you mispronounced. First one would be hailing, taxi hailing.
Really
Okay, and this one is frequent.
frequent.
Frequent. Okay, and this one is Gojek.
Gojek.
All right, number 2.
Mingwet, an employee of a logistics company in District 1, Ho Chi Minh City, assesses that apps of traditional taxi firms have improved with many payment methods, but are not as good as riding-hailing apps.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. Let's repeat the word. It's not riding, it's ride-hailing app. Ride-hailing app. Okay, number 3, Stephen.
Yes.
You start with this. For example,
I use this app to book rides and food, deliver goods, buy air tickets, book
provincial.
provincial cost tickets, and buy lottery tickets online. Most of ride-hailing apps can make payments not only for ride-hailing as tools on taxi firms.
Taxi firms. Great. Let's have TN number 4.
Traffic experts also share the view that customers have yet to be keen on taxi firm as taxi operator face a shortage of
Capital.
capital and offer low
Bonuses.
bonuses for driver
Why ride-hailing firms still have
Effective.
its effective program to actually
Attract.
attract both driver and customers.
All right. Good job, TM. Thank you so much. Let's have the first word that you mispronounced. Please say expert. Expert. Can you say that? TN?
Expert.
Okay. Good job. Team 1, Ashley, Jennifer, Steven, and TN. Now, let's have the other group. Wait a moment. Let's have the other group. So this is going to be me, Mary, Jenny, and Lissa. Okay. So I will read number 1, Mary number 2, Jenny number 3, and Lissa number 4. All right. I'm going to start. Taxi hailing apps need improving. Many customers agreed that they download taxi hailing apps but do not use them as frequent as ride-hailing apps such as Grab, Bee, and Gojek. Go ahead, Mary, number 2.
Many an employee of a largest today's company in District 1, Ho Chi Minh City, said that apps of traditional taxi firms have improved their many payment methods, but are not as good as ride-hailing apps.
Okay. Number 3, Jenny.
For example, I use BS to book rides and food, deliver goods, but a ticket book into province called
Provincial.
provincial car tickets and bilateral tickets online. Most of the ride-hailing apps can meet many demands, not only for ride-hailing as toll of taxi firms.
Taxi firms.
Taxi firms.
Okay. And number 4, Alyssa.
A traffic expert also said the view that customers have yet to be keen on taxi firms apps. Taxi operators face a shortage of
Shortage.
capital and offer low
Bonuses.
bonuses for drivers, while ride-hailing firms still have effective programs to attract both drivers and customers.
All right. So let's just repeat the word to mispronounce. Can you say bonuses?
Bonuses.
Next one would be shortage.
Be shorted.
This one, shortage. Shortage.
Shortage.
Okay, great job, everyone. Now, do you understand our reading today? Do you understand what it's all about? So it says here, or the title is Taxi Hailing Apps Need Improving. But in reality, we're actually comparing taxi hailing apps compared with the ride hailing apps. Okay, now let's try to go to the next slide. Now, I want you to, or I will be asking you some questions related to our topic for today. Okay, so this is the reading comprehension part. All right. So earlier I've asked you if you have experience riding taxi and you said yes, but have you ever encountered or tried booking a taxi through apps or online application? Have you experienced that? No? Okay. So here's the thing. So again, we have taxis in the road, right? So what we usually do is we are going to wait in a waiting area, and then we're just going to give a sign, stop the taxi, and then ride a taxi, right? But there are applications in the internet or in your smartphones that you could use to book taxis. All right. So the famous one would be Uber and or Grab, right? Have you seen something like this in your city? The green one. Do you see this? No. Oh, really? So this is Grab. So Grab is a company that offers transportation services and also delivery services. All right. So this is like um ordering food online. Who among you have experienced ordering food online? Like, let's say you want to eat some chicken, then you're going to get your phone and then order online and it will be delivered in your house. Have you experienced that? No? No. Really? Oh, maybe because you're all of you are young. Maybe that's why. But anyway, so it's just very similar to food delivery. But I mean, what's the difference is you are ordering a ride or a taxi. And then this taxi will go to your place and fetch you. And then this taxi will um, give you a ride until you reach the place that you need to visit or that you need to go. All right. Now, so this question is not going to be helpful for you because you do not use any taxi apps, right? Now, let's try to have this one. Oops, is this the end? Oops, wait a moment. Uh, wait, what's happening? Okay, wait, let me just stop sharing my screen for a while. And let's do this again. Uh-huh. But all of you have experienced riding a taxi before. Have all of you have experienced riding a taxi before? Okay, please raise your hand if you have ridden or have experienced riding a taxi before. Raise your hand if you have experienced riding a taxi before. Can you raise your hand like this? At the level of your face. Can you hear me, guys? So we have Ashley, we have Steven. Who else? Okay. All right. So since you haven't experienced, or the others have not experienced riding a taxi before, I'm gonna change the homework. So this will be your homework, guys, for next week. Do you like riding the taxi or not? So what you will do is to tell us the reason why you like or don't like riding a taxi. So do you see it in the chat box? So that's going to be our homework for next week. Do you like riding in the taxi or not? What you need to do is to tell us the reason why you like or don't like riding a taxi. Because earlier, the other mentioned that you do not like riding the taxi because it's expensive. Or the others, they don't like riding the taxi because they have motion sickness, right? So first you will answer, do you like riding taxis or not? So answer yes or no. And then elaborate. Tell us the reason why you like it and why you don't like it. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Now let's proceed to more discussions about our lesson today. Okay. So let's we're not gonna answer number one because that's your homework. Now we have number two. Let's answer number two. Ashley, can you read number two?
Do you think taxi drivers should know every road?
So
I
what do you
think
think?
not. I think not every, but many, because they have to know to bring us to there.
Mm-hmm. They have to know to bring us, or they need to know the destination or how to get to our destination, right? But I think right now that's a lot easier because in our smartphones, we have what we call maps, right? We have applications, and this helps you get the directions to the place where you need to be. Okay. Jennifer, let's have number three.
What's the worst taxi drive you've ever had?
So what do you think? What's the worst taxi drive you've ever had?
I don't know.
No, you don't know because you've never been to a taxi. Have you been into a taxi before?
There's something wrong with my internet.
Steven, where's Steven? Where's Steven? Okay, not even TN. Let's have question number four. TN, can you read question number four?
Do you think a taxi driver's job is dangerous?
Dangerous. So what do you think, TN? Do you think a taxi driver's job is dangerous? What do you think?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, so Steven, can you help TN? Can you read number four?
Yes.
Okay, why?
Uh, I think. But I think. mm,
You think?
Not the because I think the driver will um
Will?
ride with
Mm-hmm. Okay, so riding or driving a car itself is actually dangerous. Whenever you're in the road, that's actually dangerous, right? Because you're unsure of what's going to happen next. So you might know how to drive really well, but the others, they don't. And they are very irresponsible. So we really need to be very careful. And of course, the taxi driver's job could be dangerous as well. Now let's have number five, Mary.
Why do taxi drivers always talk about the weather?
hmm So what do you think? Why do you think taxi drivers always talk about the weather?
Um, I don't know.
You don't know? All right. What about you, Jenny? Number five. Why do you think taxi drivers always talk about the weather?
I I don't know because I don't often use taxi. Yes.
Mhm. Okay, just a hint. So for everybody, it doesn't matter if you have experience riding a taxi or not, but let's have the drivers itself. Why do drivers always talk about the weather? What about you, Lissa? Why do you think taxi drivers or drivers always talk about the weather?
Hmm. Uh. uh. mm, mm, uh. Um. I don't know because I don't use the taxi very much too.
Okay. I mean, you do not need to actually use a taxi. Let's have you, Ashley. What do you think? So why do you think the drivers always talk about the weather? Why is it
I
important?
actually I don't know because I don't think the taxi drivers always talk about weather. I didn't see them talk about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but let's say the taxi driver talks about the weather. Why do you think they need to talk about the weather?
Um,
How does it affect their job?
I think the weather affect their jobs. Maybe the rain makes the road more. Um, don't have that.
Slippery.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
it would be more dangerous. I think.
Exactly, right? So drivers always talk about the weather, or they need to know what kind of weather they will be facing in that day for them to know what they should do and why they should prepare next, right? And there are also destinations wherein roads are slippery. So let's say there's a heavy rain. So if it's raining cats and dogs, then probably these taxi drivers won't go in that location because it's going to be really dangerous for them. All right. That's why it's really important that they know what kind of weather is it in that particular day. All right. So, mm, wait, let me stop sharing my screen. So that's it for today's lesson. Uh-huh. Now, do you have questions about our lesson for today? Taxi. Questions? Anything that you'd like to ask?
Nope.
Nope. What about the others? Do you have questions?
None.
All right. Mm-hmm. So again, what is your homework for next meeting? Mary, what is our homework?
Uh, our homework is, do you like riding in the taxis or not? Tell us the reason why you like or don't like riding a taxi.
Okay, that's correct. So that will be our homework for next week. So please prepare um for that homework and put as much detail as possible. Regardless if you have experienced riding a taxi or not, you need to tell us if you like it or don't like riding it. All right? Okay, so I think that's it for today. If you don't have any question, then it's time for us to say goodbye. Thank you very much, everybody. Let's just take a picture for attendance. Show your faces, everybody. Please smile at the count of 3, 2, 1. Smile. Okay, one more time. TN, please show your face. Let's take a picture. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay. So see you again next week, guys. Have a great day. Bye bye. Bye, guys.